My name is Moon Petrie and I read 120 books in 2021. It is cold out, so I'm going to try to give this recap pretty quickly. It's gotten too dim this afternoon to film inside, so here we are, shivering and hustling through this. So I did on my list make a little code. There's an asterisk for books that meaningfully address race or racism, and there is a tilde squiggle for books that meaningfully address LGBTQ plus topics. I also highlighted some of my absolute favorites in green. So if you want to know which are the handful of books I recommend most strongly, I tried to just do one for each different category and genre. Sometimes I totally failed at that. Anyway, those are the books that I would really love for other people to read, and let me know if you have read them or want to read them, and we can talk about them in the comments. So for middle grade fiction, I read 34 books. I was really trying to read a lot of middle grade because I was writing middle grade, so that was important to me. I read a lot of contemporaries, 13 contemporaries, plus also 8 that I categorize as adventure. So they were basically contemporaries, although some were a little more far-fetched than others. I read 10 middle grade fantasies, 2 middle grade science fictions, and 1 middle grade horror, which I had not done in a long time. It was fun. I read 40 YA novels. Of those, 11 were contemporaries, 12 fantasies, 2 that I would call horror, and 15 mysteries or thrillers. For adult fiction, I read 24. This is more adult than I usually read, I would say, in a year. Only one of them was a classic. 16, unsurprisingly, were mysteries or thrillers. 6 adult fantasies, and 1 adult horror, and that was something I hadn't done in a very long time either. I read 22 nonfiction books. 11 of them were adult, and 11 of them were geared toward middle grade or YA readers. Of the adult, 2 were books about race and racism, 7 were books on LGBTQ plus topics, and 2 were other. For the YA or middle grade nonfiction, I did read more books about race and racism in this age category than I did last year, which was one of my goals. Find books that meaningfully address these topics in ways that either are appropriate for my kids now or will be at some point in the not too distant future, so that we don't just gloss over it and pretend everything is fine. So there were 6 books about race and racism for kids that I read this year, and 2 books on LGBTQ plus topics, and 3 other. Now, I did do a couple of fun little things this year that were not reading challenges, from other people, but they were just fun reading challenges I gave myself. One was about numbers. So I read 1 by 1 by Ruth Ware, 2 Nights by Kathy Reichs, The Book of 3 by Lloyd Alexander, 4 Dead Queens by Astrid Schultz, 5, 6, 7, 8, counted for a few numbers by Tim Federle, 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, 9 from the 9 Worlds by Rick Riordan, which is a short story collection, and 10, a YA thriller by Gretchen McNeil. I also tried to read a lot of cozy mysteries and various mysteries with Christmassy themes in December. It crashed and burned. This was actually, it only shows up as 2. Oh, I didn't mention, there are X's for the DNFs. I only DNF'd 3 books this year. And 2 of them were Christmas mysteries that just sucked. And there's actually 1 more that I didn't even count because I DNF'd it on page 4 because there was a T slur and I was really not happy with that. It was by, what is her name? She goes by J.D. Robb when she writes those mysteries. So that was a huge disappointment. So I kind of gave up on the Christmas books. But this year I would really like to do more reading challenges, and that is one of the main things that I am intending to do this year, alongside cleaning out some of my TBRs and reading through all of the picture books that I have for my kids. That will not count toward my goal on Goodreads of 100 books, because I've already probably read, 70 picture books to my kids. But I am doing the Buzzword Reading Challenge, formerly known as the Buzzwordathon, done by Kayla at Books and Lala. And the prompt for this month is question words, the 5 W's. So I have already read When All the Girls Are Sleeping by Emily Arsenault, and I'm currently reading What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. So I'm looking forward to having a fun new prompt each month. I have been already sorting through my TBRs and finding what might fit where for all of the various monthly prompts. So I'm very excited about that. So that is my 2021 reading wrap up and, quick, vague, simple 2022 reading goals. I can't tell you how strongly I recommend all those books that I highlight in green on my list. And until next time, I am Moon Petrie. Let's be friends on Goodreads. Editing Moon here. I don't know how I made this whole video without mentioning TJ Klune. TJ Klune is my new favorite writer, and I don't have new favorite writers very often. If you're going to take one thing from this video, take TJ Klune. Read something, anything he has written. I think The Extraordinaries and Flashfire were my favorites.